Best friend looked surprised, but he didn't laugh. "That's very big," he said. "But if I were you, I wouldn't talk about this dream of yours too much. Nobody's around here might take you for a fool." Ordinary didn't want to look like a fool, so after that he kept his big dream to himself. Day after day, Ordinary showed up at his usual job, but while he worked, he thought about his dream. He thought about how wonderful it would be to do what he loved to do instead of just dreaming about it. Ordinary's longing for his big dream grew and grew, until finally he realized that he'd never be happy unless he could pursue it. Why didn't the dream giver make it possible? If the dream giver didn't, how could Ordinary ever leave familiar? He had payments and expenses. He had regular duties. A lot of nobodies counted on him for a lot of things. Ordinary felt completely stuck. Time passed, but nothing changed. He began to hate his usual job. "This isn't what I was made to do," he'd say. "I just know it." After a while, he began to worry that maybe he hadn't received the big dream. After all, maybe he just made it all up, and he grew sadder by the day. One evening after work, Ordinary went to his parents' house to watch the box. But their box was broken, so the house was very, very quiet. It was even more quiet because his mother was out shopping at Familiar Foods. In the quietness, Ordinary started to think about his dream again. He looked over at his father sitting in his recliner, staring at the single page of Nobody News. Maybe he could help. "Father," said Ordinary, "I'm growing sadder by the day. I don't like my usual job anymore. In fact, I think I hate it." Father looked up and said, "That's terrible. What happened?" Before he could stop himself, Ordinary started talking about the dream giver and how about his big dream. "I was made to be a somebody and achieve great things," he said. And then he told his father the name of his dream. And he spoke. His voice trembled. He was sure that his father would laugh or call him a fool. But his father didn't. "I'm not surprised to hear you say these things," he said. "You're not?" said Ordinary. "No," his father said. "You've had that dream ever since you were little." Then Ordinary remembered. He'd always had his dream. It was what he'd always wanted to do, and what he'd always thought he'd be doing. His eyes filled with tears. "Father," he said, "I think I was born to do this." His father quietly said, "A long time ago, I woke up to a dream." And it came with a long cut. As they sat together quietly, his father spoke up. "A long time ago, I also woke up to a dream. I waited for a chance to pursue it. I waited and waited, but it never seemed possible. One day I noticed of all the sad words Ordinary had ever heard, these were the saddest. Before he left that night, his father hugged him. "Don't make the same mistake I did, son. You don't have to stay a nobody. You can be a dreamer." When Ordinary got home, he sat down and began to think. Then he had an idea. Could it be that maybe the dream giver had gave everybody a nobody dream, but only some embraced their dreams, and even fewer pursued them? The more he thought about it, the more he thought it had to be true. One thing Ordinary did know for sure. He didn't want to repeat his father's mistake. He wouldn't waste another day waiting for his dream to seem possible. He would find a way to pursue it.